So sometimes babies come in with a sort of vibrational stance that they're going to be nonconformists, and that no matter what you do or what you need from them, they're not going to give it to you. So if your happiness depends upon their normalcy, you're in trouble, because they came deliberately depending to be nowhere near what you want to think of as normal. And sometimes some teachers come upon that later. They discover, from broader perspective, they always know it, that they are really not wanting to jump through the hoops to keep everybody happy. And so some of that is some of that. As it relates to you, the reason that we're telling it to you in this way is because this is a clear example, and we understand it, everyone does, and almost everyone is doing it to some extent with someone. You need her to be more like she was, and you'd feel better. That's a condition that would make you feel better, but it's a condition that you can't control, and we are sort of boldly and bluntly and obnoxiously telling you that it isn't any of your business to control it, and you couldn't even if you wanted to. In other words, how's medical science doing with Alzheimer's? They got a cure for it yet? And it's not likely that they will anytime soon, because it's something that is coming from a broader perspective. It's like a new determination to march to the beat of a different drummer, you see. And just because you can't make it fit into what the modality that you have established doesn't mean that it isn't working for her in some way, you see. And so again, it's sort of like we were talking with our friend a moment ago about her state of hearing. If you can accept the state of anything and not need it to change in order for you to feel good, then you have come away from that experience with an enormous gift. It's the gift of unconditional love. It's the gift of unconditional alignment. And it is the only place that freedom is, you see. Because as long as there's something that's going to upset you, that you need to change in order to not be upset, that isn't going to change, then you are in trouble. And that's what that feeling of fear is about. It's not fear that this will happen to you. Fear in the moment is not about something that's going to happen later. Fear in the moment is about what's happening in the moment. It's about a misunderstanding in the moment. It's about looking at something in the moment differently than your broader self is looking at it in the moment, you see. It's looking at her as defective. It's looking at her as having lost something. It's looking at her as if something has diminished. And it's such an interesting thing, because no matter what, even if you can't hear as well as you once did, no matter what, you are always moving forward. You are never moving back. There is never regression. There is never loss. There is only gain, you see. So if you can accept that, it's the comparison that once I was young and now I was old, or once I was thin and now I am fat, or once I was smart and now I am not as, and that attention that causes you to come to the conclusion of less than, that's the diminishing factor, you see.
And
did you get
that's
that?
where,
Did you
yes,
get that?
and what comes up is like, but that's where she is, like she's in that space, and it's not my business, and it's not, my business is my business. I hear that.
It's your business to feel the way you feel
About it.
about anything, but we can't give you, no matter how long we converse here, a satisfying answer about why she's where she is,
Right.
or what to do about it. And if your soothing relies on something shifting with some condition that you're observing, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Your soothing cannot rely on that.
And thank you. And you said yesterday it was, and I'm not sure if I have this right, it was pre-paving a fearful exit. What did you said? Dementia was a pre-paving. Do you remember?
It's interesting because we spend no time remembering.
Right. Pre-paving a fearful exit. I wondered what that meant.
It means soothing self, period. Soothing self. It doesn't mean that everyone that has dementia has fear of death, but it is often that.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason that the softer focus is more comfortable. And the reason that it is usual in people who have been here longer is because they came in and they became accustomed to a world that was a slower pace. And as the world got faster and there was more and more that they do not understand, the gap between what they're able to comprehend and what they are comprehending becomes bothersome to them. Mm-hmm. And so it's a sort of withdrawal from that concern or care. Mm-hmm. But the reason that we say that what's going on with other people really shouldn't be your business is because when it is someone else, you can't do anything about changing it. You see. We were talking earlier, and that's a little unsettling to teachers like this room is filled with. But we've talked to several teachers in these days that we've been together. Parents are teachers, teachers are teachers, yoga instructors. In other words, many of you who are wanting to assist others in feeling better. And we had a lengthy conversation about how if you can find a way to focus on someone and stay uplifted, that you have a better opportunity through the clarity of your vibrational example of uplifting them. And the thing that's so interesting to us about a subject like dementia is that it feels to you like you need to do something to uplift your friend out of the dementia. But it feels to her like her dementia is her way of uplifting you out of the chaos of your world. There's too much conversation about too many things, and too much worry about too many things, and too much nitpicking about too many things. And sometimes people just get tired of the nitpicking and they withdraw into a simpler framework. And that's a lot of what that is too, you see.
And so if I feel...
One of the things that you often recognize with someone who has moved into that in a significant way is that they seem detached from this and often connected to something else. And so that's what we're talking about. It is that bridge. Some have called it the long goodbye. We think a better terminology for it would be a more comfortable adjustment. It's just a more comfortable adjusting into something not understood. And if you let them be the reason that you are not connected, then you really don't have anything to give. And then those relationships begin to feel like burdens. And in the moment that someone begins to feel a little burdensome to you, that's really hard for them to take because it's the last thing that she wants to be. There's an independence there that is at the heart of that dementia, a true independence.